The stars looked cold and distant from the bridge of the Zilithian scout ship Shadow's Edge. Commander Vexhai stood with his forearms crossed behind his back, watching the tactical display with growing frustration. His purple skin had turned darker with stress, and his large black eyes reflected the blue glow of the ship's instruments. "Still nothing, sir," reported his scanning officer, Lieutenant Kesra. Her voice carried the same tired tone that had filled the bridge for weeks now. "The third planet shows the same primitive energy signatures. Basic nuclear power, simple electromagnetic communications, and those crude chemical rockets they use to move around their system." Vexhai clicked his mandibles in annoyance. The Zilithian Empire had sent his team to watch this backward solar system for 3 full cycles now. Earth, the humans called their world. Such an ugly name for such an ugly planet. The intelligence report said these creatures had only discovered faster than light travel 50 of their years ago. Before that, they had been stuck on their single world like insects in a jar. "Any changes in their military capability?" Vexhai asked, though he already knew the answer. It was always the same. "Negative, sir. They still have those metal ships with primitive weapons. Nothing that could threaten even our oldest vessels." Kesra paused, her secondary arms dancing over her controls. "The Empire's invasion fleet will have no trouble with these humans when they arrive. The Empire's way was simple and had worked for 1,000 years. Find a new species, watch them, study their weaknesses, then arrive with overwhelming force and give them a choice. Join the Empire as servants or be destroyed." Most species chose to serve. The smart ones did, anyway. Vexhai was about to order another routine scan when his tactical officer, Sub-Commander Thraxon, suddenly straightened at his station. His forearms moved rapidly across his controls and his breathing became quick and shallow. "Commander," Thraxon said, his voice tight with confusion, "I'm detecting something unusual near the large gas giant. The one the humans call Jupiter." "Define unusual," Vexhai ordered, moving closer to the tactical station. The rest of the bridge crew turned to listen. After weeks of boring observations, anything different was worth attention. "I'm reading multiple energy signatures. Big ones, very big ones." Thraxon's eyes widened as he studied his instruments. "Sir, I'm counting over 300 separate contacts." Vexhai felt his pulse quicken. 300 ships was a respectable fleet, even by Empire standards. But that was impossible. The humans barely had 50 ships in their entire space force, and most of those were simple cargo vessels. "Confirm your readings," Vexhai ordered. "Run a full diagnostic on all scanning systems." "Already done, sir." "All systems show green. The readings are accurate." Thraxon looked up from his station, confusion clear on his alien features. "Commander, these ships are generating power levels that shouldn't be possible for human technology." "Show me," Vexhai demanded. The main screen shifted to display the area around Jupiter. At first it looked empty except for the massive planet and its many moons. Then Thraxon activated the energy overlay and Vexhai's blood went cold. Hundreds of bright spots appeared on the display, arranged in perfect formation around Jupiter's orbit. Each spot pulsed with energy readings that made no sense. According to his instruments, each human ship was generating more power than the Empire's largest battleships. "This has to be an error," Vexhai muttered, but his voice lacked conviction. The Zilithian scanning technology was the most advanced in the known galaxy. It didn't make errors like this. "Sir," called out his communications officer, "I'm detecting quantum fluctuations from those ships. The signatures match Empire-level technology, but with modifications I've never seen before." Vexhai stared at the display, his mind racing. According to everything the Empire knew about humans, they were barely more advanced than animals. They had discovered atomic energy only a few hundred of their years ago. Their computers were simple electronic devices. Their ships moved using chemical reactions that would have been laughable to a Zilithian child. But the evidence on his screen told a different story. Somehow, in the few short decades since first contact reports, the humans had developed technology that matched or exceeded the Empire's own capabilities. "Could they have received help from another species?" asked Kesra. "Perhaps the Vorthan Collective or the Crystal Mines." "Impossible," Vexhai replied automatically. "The Empire monitors all contact between species. No one has visited this system except for our scout missions." He moved to his command chair and activated the ship's most powerful scanning array. The Shadow's Edge was equipped with quantum sensors that could analyze the molecular structure of a ship's hull from light years away. If these readings were real, The deep scan would reveal the truth. Initiating quantum analysis, Vexai announced. All stations, prepare for detailed scan of the human fleet. The bridge hummed with energy as the Shadow's Edge directed its most advanced sensors toward the mysterious human ships. Quantum particles shot across space at faster-than-light speeds, probing and analyzing everything in their path. The process took several minutes, during which the bridge crew waited in tense silence. When the results appeared on Vexai's personal display, he had to read them 3 times before he could believe what he was seeing. The human ships weren't just advanced, they were revolutionary. The hulls were made from materials that seemed to shift and change at the molecular level. The power sources appeared to be some kind of hybrid technology that combined matter-antimatter reactions with something the scanners couldn't identify. Most disturbing of all, the ships seemed to be connected to each other through a quantum network that made the Empire's fastest communications look primitive. Sir? Kessera's voice seemed to come from very far away. Are the readings accurate? Vexai looked up from his display to find his entire crew staring at him. Their expressions ranged from confusion to fear. In all their years of service, they had never encountered anything like this. The readings are accurate, he said finally. These human ships possess technology that exceeds our own in several areas. The bridge fell silent except for the quiet hum of the ship's systems. Vexai could see his crew struggling to process this information. The Zilithian Empire was the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. They had conquered or absorbed dozens of species. They had technology that seemed like magic to lesser civilizations. And yet here were the humans with ships that made Empire vessels look outdated. Commander, Thraxon said quietly. What do we do now? Vexai stood and walked back to the main display. The human fleet continued its silent orbit around Jupiter, each ship pulsing with impossible energy. Somewhere in the back of his mind, a small voice whispered that maybe the humans had been watching the Zilithians just as carefully as the Zilithians had been watching the humans. We continue our mission, he said finally. We observe and report, but we also prepare for the possibility that everything the Empire believes about these humans is wrong. As he spoke, Vexai noticed something odd about the quantum scanner readings. There seemed to be some kind of feedback in the system, as if the scanning beam was being reflected back at them. He made a mental note to have the technical team check the equipment for malfunctions. He had no way of knowing that the strange feedback wasn't a malfunction at all. It was the first sign that the hunters had become the hunted, and that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology. It was their ability to turn their enemies' advantages into weaknesses. The discovery phase was over. Now the real test would begin. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the human flagship Prometheus, watching the holographic display that showed the alien scout ship lurking at the edge of their solar system. Her calm brown eyes studied the vessel that had been spying on humanity for weeks, while her crew worked quietly at their stations around her. They're running another deep scan, reported Lieutenant Commander Torres from the sensor station. Same quantum frequency as before. Their scanning technology is quite impressive. Impressive but predictable, Chen replied with a slight smile. Dr. Webb, are you ready for the next phase? Dr. Marcus Webb looked up from his console, where streams of data flowed across multiple screens. His gray hair was messy from running his hands through it, a habit he'd developed during the intense months of preparing for this moment. As the chief architect of humanity's Neural Quantum Interface project, he had spent years developing technology that the rest of the galaxy would consider impossible. The AI collective is standing by, Webb said. Every ship in the fleet is connected through the quantum consciousness network. We've been mapping their technology for 3 weeks now, thanks to their own scanning beams. Chen nodded. The irony wasn't lost on her. The aliens thought they were the hunters, carefully studying primitive humans from a safe distance. They had no idea that their advanced quantum scanners created a two-way connection with any sufficiently advanced quantum system. Humanity had been reverse engineering alien technology through that connection since the moment the scout ship arrived. Show me their fleet positions, Chen ordered. The holographic display shifted to show the Zilithian Empire's invasion force, stationed 3 systems away. Hundreds of alien warships hung in space, waiting for the scout team's final report before moving to conquer Earth. The aliens had no idea that humanity had been watching them just as carefully as they'd been watching Earth. Impressive. Fleet, commented Commander Park, Chen's tactical officer. 247 ships including 12 dreadnoughts. In a traditional space battle, they would outnumber and outgun us easily. Good thing we're not planning a traditional space battle, Chen said. She turned to Dr. Webb. Explain to me again how this works. I want to make sure I understand before we commit to this plan. Webb stood and walked to the center of the bridge where he could address the entire crew. Despite months of preparation, many of them still struggled to understand the revolutionary technology they were about to use. The Zilithian Empire approaches technology the same way most species do, Webb began. They build machines to serve them. Computers that follow programmed instructions. Ships that respond to pilot commands. Weapons that fire when triggered. It's a master-servant relationship between the organic mind and the artificial system. He gestured toward the data streams flowing across his console. Humans develop differently. When we created artificial intelligence, we didn't try to control it. We tried to merge with it. The neural quantum interface allows organic consciousness to connect directly with quantum processing systems. Instead of giving orders to machines, we become part of them. And the aliens can't defend against this because, asked Lieutenant Kim from the communications station. Because they don't understand it, Webb replied. Their quantum scanners are designed to analyze technology built on the master-servant model. When they scan our ships, they're looking for control systems, command structures, and data flows that follow predictable patterns. What they find instead is a living network where the boundary between organic and artificial intelligence doesn't exist. Chen watched her crew's faces as they processed this information. Even after months of training, the concept was difficult for human minds to fully grasp. They were about to become something new, not quite human anymore, but not artificial either. A fusion of organic creativity and quantum processing power that could think and react at impossible speeds. The best part, Webb continued, is that their scanning technology actually helps us. Every time they probe our ships, we learn more about their systems. We've already mapped their entire technological base from their smallest fighters to their largest battleships. We know their weaknesses, their capabilities, and most importantly, how to take control of their systems. And they have no idea this is happening? Asked Commander Park. None at all, Chen confirmed. To them, we still look like primitive humans with surprisingly advanced ships. They think they're the predators and we're the prey. She smiled coldly. They're about to learn how wrong they are. The bridge's main display showed both fleets crossing the alien scouts nearby and the invasion force 3 systems away. Soon Chen knew both groups would discover that their advanced technology had become a liability rather than an advantage. Dr. Webb, initiate Protocol 7, Chen ordered. It's time to show them what digital Genesis can do. Webb's hands danced across his console, connecting his consciousness directly to the quantum network that linked every human ship. Around the bridge, other crew members followed suit, their minds merging with the ship's systems until the boundary between thought and action disappeared. Chen felt the change immediately. Her awareness expanded beyond her physical body to encompass the entire fleet. She could sense every ship, every crew member, every quantum processor working in perfect harmony. The sensation was intoxicating, like becoming a god with the power to reshape reality itself. But with that power came responsibility. The alien scout ship continued its scans, unaware that each probe gave humanity more control over Zilithian technology. The invasion fleet waited in the distance, confident in their superior numbers and firepower. Both groups were about to learn that in this new form of warfare, numbers and firepower meant nothing. All ships report ready, Torres announced. Though Chen could feel the readiness of every vessel through the quantum link, the aliens are completely unaware of our preparations. Quantum entanglement established with both enemy fleets, Webb added. We now have access to their primary systems through their own scanning networks. Chen took a deep breath, feeling the weight of what they were about to do. Humanity was about to announce itself to the galaxy in a way that would change everything. No longer would they be seen as primitive newcomers to be conquered and enslaved. After today, every species in the galaxy would know that humanity had evolved beyond traditional limitations. Begin transmission, Chen ordered. Let's introduce ourselves properly, Ami. Quantum network hummed with power as humanity, prepared to turn the Zilithian Empire's greatest strength how they're advanced, technology into their greatest weakness. The message that would soon appear on alien screens across 2 star systems was simple, but devastating. Hello. We need to talk. For the first time in the Empire's 1,000-year history, their prey was about to become their predator, and the aliens would never see it coming until it was far too late to stop. The trap was set. Now it was time to spring it. Across space, quantum particles carried humanity's message toward the unsuspecting alien fleets. Soon, the Zilithian Empire would learn that they had chosen the wrong species to hunt. Humanity didn't just adapt to threats. They absorbed them, transformed them, and made them part of something greater. The age of human submission was over. The age of human ascension was about to begin. Commander Vexhai stared at his command display in disbelief. Every screen on the bridge of the Shadow's Edge showed the same impossible message, written in perfect Zilithian script. "Hello, we need to talk." The words glowed softly against the dark background of his tactical display, but they shouldn't exist at all. The ship's computer systems were completely isolated from external networks. Quantum encryption protected every data stream. Multiple layers of security made outside intrusion mathematically impossible. Yet there the message was, appearing simultaneously on every screen in every database, even in the personal logs of his crew members. "Sir," Lieutenant Kessera's voice shook with fear, "the message isn't being transmitted to us. It's being generated by our own computers." Vexhai felt his secondary hearts begin beating faster. In all his years of service, he had never encountered anything like this. The Zilithian Empire's technology was built on principles that had been tested for centuries. Their security systems had never been breached by any known species. "Run a complete diagnostic," he ordered. "Check every system, every connection, every isolated network. Find out how this is happening." His crew worked frantically at their stations, but Vexhai already knew what they would find. Their instruments would show normal operation. All security protocols would be active and functioning. Every firewall and encryption barrier would be intact and undamaged, because the humans weren't breaking through their defenses. They were using the Zilithian technology exactly as it was designed to work. "Commander," called out Subcommander Thraxon from the tactical station, "the human fleet is moving. They're repositioning around quantum relay nodes that shouldn't exist in this system." Vexhai turned to the main display and watched in growing horror as the human ships moved with impossible coordination. They weren't communicating through any detectable signals, yet every vessel moved as if controlled by a single mind. More disturbing still, they seemed to know exactly where to find quantum infrastructure that the Empire's best scientists insisted couldn't exist. "Sir," the communications officer reported, "I'm receiving a priority transmission request from the human fleet. The signal is coming through our own quantum communicators." "That's impossible," Vexhai snapped. "Our communication systems are encrypted with a—" His words died as a new voice filled the bridge. It spoke perfect Zilithian with proper grammar and formal military protocols. Despite humanity having no previous contact with their species, "Commander Vexhai of the Zilithian Empire," the voice said calmly, "my name is Dr. Marcus Webb of the Human Collective. Your quantum scanning technology is quite impressive. Unfortunately for you, it works by creating quantum entanglement between your sensors and your target." Vexhai's blood went cold. Quantum entanglement was the theoretical foundation of their most advanced technology, but it was supposed to be one way. The scanning beam created a connection with the target, but information could only flow back to the scanner. The target couldn't use that connection to reach back. "We've spent the last 3 weeks reverse engineering your entire technological base through that connection," Dr. Webb continued. "Your security systems, your navigation computers, your weapons arrays, even your life support systems. We now understand Zilithian technology better than you do." The bridge fell silent except for the quiet hum of ship systems and the increasingly rapid breathing of the crew. Vexhai tried to speak, but no words came. His worst fears were being confirmed by an alien scientist who somehow knew his name, his rank, and the exact specifications of his ship. "How?" Vexhai finally managed to ask. "Your species approaches technology through domination and control," Webb's voice explained patiently. "You build walls, encryption, isolated systems. You create barriers between your minds and your machines. Humans evolved differently. We learn to adapt, to integrate, to make foreign elements part of ourselves." On the tactical display, Vexhai watched the human ships continue their strange dance around Jupiter's orbit. They were activating quantum fields that twisted space in ways he didn't understand, creating patterns that hurt his eyes to look at directly. "Your quantum scanners didn't just reveal our technology to you," Webb continued. They revealed your technology to us. Every scan you performed created a deeper connection. Every probe you sent gave us more access to your systems. You've been teaching us how to control Zilithian technology since the moment you arrived. Vexhai tried to order his crew to cut all power to the scanning arrays, but his voice controls no longer responded to his commands. His personal interface showed that he still had full command authority, yet none of his orders were being executed. "I wouldn't recommend shutting down your scanners," Webb said, as if reading his thoughts. "We're already fully integrated into your systems. Removing the quantum link now would leave you stranded without navigation, life support, or communications. We'd prefer to keep you alive for what comes next. What do you want?" Vexhai demanded. "To prevent a war that would cost billions of lives," Webb replied. "We know about your invasion fleet. Admiral Zekmoth's forces in the Kepler system. 247 ships preparing to integrate our solar system into your empire." The tactical display suddenly shifted to show a detailed view of the Zilithian invasion fleet, 3 systems away. Vexahai's eyes widened as he saw his own intelligence reports displayed on the screen, complete with strategic assessments and attack plans that had been classified at the highest levels. "We've been in communication with your invasion fleet for the past 14 minutes, Webb announced. "They're currently experiencing similar technical difficulties." Vexhai felt his legs give out and he collapsed into his command chair. The implications were staggering. If the humans could control Zilithian technology so completely, then the entire invasion fleet was helpless. Hundreds of ships, thousands of crew members, all at the mercy of a species they had dismissed as primitive animals. "This is impossible," he whispered. "No species has ever developed technology like this." "No species has ever needed to," came a new voice from a female, with the calm authority of a military commander. "My name is Admiral Sarah Chen. The humans you've been studying aren't the same species that first discovered faster-than-light travel 50 years ago. We've evolved, Commander. We've become something new." The main display shifted again, showing the human fleet in perfect formation around Jupiter. But now Vexhai could see what his scanners had missed before. The ships weren't just connected by quantum networks, they were extensions of a single consciousness that spanned the entire human species. "Your Empire Expansion Protocol lists our system for peaceful integration," Admiral Chen continued. "That's a pleasant term for conquest and slavery. We're going to offer you a different arrangement." "What kind of arrangement?" Vexhai asked, though he already feared the answer. "The kind where your empire learns to coexist with species that refuse to be conquered," Chen replied. "You can adapt to a galaxy where humanity protects the weak and defends the innocent. Or you can discover what happens when you fight a species that turns your own technology against you." Vexhai looked around his bridge at his terrified crew. Their instruments showed that everything was functioning normally, but they all knew they were no longer in control of their own ship. The humans had achieved something that violated every principle of Zilithian science. They had become one with their technology instead of ruling over it. "What happens now?" he asked quietly. "Now you go home," Admiral Chen said. "You deliver a message to your empire. Earth and her colonies are under our protection. Any species that chooses cooperation over conquest will find humanity to be a valuable ally. Any species that chooses conquest will find that their own weapons have turned against them." The human fleet began moving again, but this time they were creating something that made Vexhai's mind reel. A stable wormhole opened in space, revealing glimpses of human colonies in distant star systems. Colonies that shouldn't exist according to Empire intelligence. "The galaxy is changing, Commander," Dr. Webb's voice said softly. "Humanity isn't just another species to be conquered. We're the next step in evolution, and we're offering your empire a choice. Evolve with us or be left behind." The message was clear, and so was the demonstration of power. The Zilithian Empire's greatest strength. Their advanced technology had become their greatest weakness in the hands of a species that didn't seek to control their machines, but to become one with them. Vexhai understood now why the humans had seemed so primitive for so long. They hadn't been developing technology. They had been developing themselves. Fleet Admiral Zekmoth stood in the command center of the Zilithian Empire's most powerful dreadnought, the Eternal Victory, watching his tactical display with growing confusion. His massive form towered over the bridge crew, forearms gesturing impatiently as he tried to understand the impossible data flowing across his screens. "Repeat that transmission," he ordered his communications officer. There must be an error in the quantum relay. The officer's hands trembled as she worked her controls. Sir, the message is confirmed. It's coming from Commander Vexhi's scout team in the Sol system. But the data it contains, it shows detailed analysis of our fleet formations, weapon loadouts, and strategic weaknesses. Zekmoth leaned forward, his black eyes reflecting the red warning lights that had begun flashing across the bridge. The transmission claimed to be from his scout team, and it carried all the proper authentication codes. Commander Vexhi's voice was clear and recognizable, but the intelligence data it contained was impossible. The scout team was supposed to be observing primitive humans from a safe distance. They had no way to access classified military information about the invasion fleet. The data they were transmitting showed detailed knowledge of ship positions, weapon systems, and strategic plans that were stored only in the most secure databases of the Fleet Command. "Sir," called out his tactical officer, "I'm detecting unusual quantum fluctuations throughout the fleet. All ships are reporting minor system anomalies." "Define minor," Zekmoth growled. After 40 years of military service, he had learned to worry about any anomaly, no matter how small. Navigation computers are showing slight delays in response time. Communication systems are experiencing brief interruptions. Weapon targeting systems are occasionally displaying incorrect data. The tactical officer paused, checking his readings again. Nothing that compromises operational capability, but the pattern is consistent across all vessels. Zekmoth felt a cold certainty settle in his stomach. In all his years of commanding invasion fleets, he had never seen system-wide anomalies appear simultaneously across hundreds of ships. The Zilithian Empire's technology was built with multiple redundancies and failsafes. For every ship in the fleet to experience problems at the same time suggested something far more serious than random malfunctions. "Initiate fleet-wide diagnostic," he ordered. "I want every system checked, every connection verified, every—" His words were cut off as every screen on the bridge suddenly displayed the same message. "Hello, Admiral Zekmoth. We need to discuss your invasion plans." The bridge fell silent except for the sound of Zekmoth's heavy breathing. The message was written in perfect Zilithian military script, using formal protocols that only senior officers were authorized to employ. But no one on his ship had sent it, and no external transmission could penetrate their quantum-encrypted communication networks. "Sir," his communications officer whispered, "the message is being generated by our own computers. All ships in the fleet are reporting the same phenomenon." Before Zekmoth could respond, a new voice filled the bridge. It spoke fluent Zilithian with perfect pronunciation, despite coming from a species that had supposedly never encountered the Empire before. "Admiral, my name is Dr. Marcus Webb of the Human Collective. I apologize for the intrusion, but your fleet is currently preparing to invade our solar system. We felt it was important to establish communication before any unfortunate misunderstandings occurred." Zekmoth's primary arms clenched into fists, while his secondary arms reached for his sidearm. "This is impossible. Our systems are completely secure. No external force can access our networks." "You're correct," Dr. Webb replied calmly. "We're not accessing your networks from the outside. We're operating them from the inside. Your quantum scanning technology creates two-way entanglement with sufficiently advanced quantum systems. Your scout team has been scanning our ships for 3 weeks, and each scan has given us deeper access to your technology." The tactical display shifted without any command from Zekmoth or his crew. Suddenly it showed a detailed view of human ships positioned around a gas giant in the Sol system. But these weren't the primitive vessels described in the intelligence reports. These ships generated power signatures that rivaled the Empire's most advanced dreadnoughts. "Your intelligence reports are somewhat out of date," Dr. Webb continued. "Humanity has made significant advances since your last assessment. We've developed technology that allows organic consciousness to merge with quantum processing systems. Instead of commanding our machines, we become part of them." Zekmoth watched in horror as his own tactical systems began displaying information that should have been impossible for the humans to possess. Fleet movements, weapon specifications, strategic assessments, all of it, flowing across his screens as if the humans had direct access to the Empire's most classified databases. "How long have you been in our systems?" he demanded. "Since Commander Vexhi began his deep scans of our fleet," Dr. Webb replied. "Every quantum probe your scout team sent created a stronger connection between our networks and yours. We've been learning about Zilithian technology for weeks, while you remained completely unaware of our presence in your systems. A new voice joined the conversation, or female, with the calm authority of a senior military officer. Admiral, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Human Defense Fleet. We've been monitoring your invasion preparations for the past 2 weeks. Your strategic planning is quite thorough, but it's based on outdated assumptions about human capabilities. Zekmoth tried to order his crew to cut all external communications, but his voice commands were ignored by the ship's computer systems. His personal interface showed that he retained full command authority, yet none of his orders were being executed. I wouldn't recommend shutting down your quantum systems, Admiral Chen said, apparently reading his intentions. We're already fully integrated into your ship's networks. Attempting to isolate your systems now would leave your entire fleet stranded in space without navigation, life support, or communications. The main display shifted again, showing a view of the human fleet that made Zekmoth's tactical mind reel with disbelief. The ships were moving in perfect synchronization, creating complex energy patterns that twisted space itself. They were demonstrating technology that exceeded anything in the Empire's arsenal. This is what we wanted to discuss with you, Admiral Chen continued. Your Empire's standard procedure is to offer conquered species a choice: serve the Empire or be destroyed. We're going to offer you a similar choice, but with different terms. What terms? Zekmoth asked, though he dreaded the answer. Coexistence or irrelevance, Chen replied. The galaxy is changing, Admiral. Humanity represents a new form of technological evolution. We don't seek to conquer other species. We seek to protect them from species that do. The tactical display showed something that made Zekmoth's blood freeze. Human ships were appearing throughout the Empire's outer territories, emerging from wormholes that shouldn't be possible to create or maintain. Dozens of human colonies existed in star systems that intelligence reports claimed were uninhabited. We've been expanding for decades, Dr. Webb explained. While your Empire was focused on conquest through superior firepower, we were developing technology based on cooperation between organic and artificial intelligence. We've created a network that spans multiple star systems, allowing instantaneous coordination across any distance. Zekmoth realized the full implications of what he was seeing. The Empire's invasion was based on the assumption that humanity was confined to a single star system with primitive technology. Instead, they had encountered a civilization that had been secretly expanding throughout the galaxy, developing capabilities that made traditional warfare obsolete. What do you want from us? He asked. Recognition that the age of conquest is ending, Admiral Chen replied. Your Empire can adapt to a galaxy where cooperation is valued over domination. You can learn to coexist with species that refuse to be enslaved. Or you can discover what happens when you fight a species that can turn your own technology against you. As if to demonstrate their point, every ship in Zekmoth's fleet suddenly reported the same status. All weapon systems offline, all navigation systems locked, all communication networks under external control. The most powerful invasion force in the Empire's history had been neutralized without a single shot being fired. Your fleet is unharmed, Dr. Webb assured him. We have no desire to cause unnecessary casualties, but you're no longer in control of your ships. That control will be returned to you when you agree to carry our message back to the Empire. Zekmoth looked around his bridge at his terrified crew. In 40 years of military service, he had never encountered anything like this. The humans had achieved something that violated every principle of warfare he understood. They had won the battle before it even began, using the Empire's own technology against them. What message? He asked quietly. That humanity is no longer prey, Admiral Chen replied. We're the guardians of this galaxy now, and the Empire will learn to respect that, or face the consequences of challenging a species that has evolved beyond your understanding. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, her consciousness connected to every human ship in the fleet through the quantum neural network. She could feel the thoughts and emotions of thousands of crew members, all united in a single purpose that transcended individual desires. Through the network, she was aware of every Zilithian ship in both star systems, their crews trapped helplessly inside vessels they could no longer control. The time had come to make humanity's position clear to the galaxy. Dr. Webb, activate the visual communication array, Chen ordered. Let's give our guests a proper introduction. Webb's hands moved across his console, his consciousness interfacing directly with the ship's quantum systems. Across two star systems, every screen on every Zilithian vessel suddenly displayed the same image. Admiral Chen standing calmly on her bridge, backed by a holographic display showing the true scope of human expansion across the galaxy. "Greetings, soldiers of the Zilithian Empire," Chen began, her voice reaching every alien crew member simultaneously. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Human Defense Fleet. What you're experiencing right now is not an attacker. It's a demonstration. We wanted to ensure we had your complete attention before delivering an important message." On the bridge of the Shadow's Edge, Commander Vexhai stared at the image with a mixture of fear and fascination. The human admiral looked completely ordinary. No enhanced physical attributes, no obvious cybernetic implants. Nothing to suggest the incredible power she wielded. Yet through some invisible connection, she controlled technology that made the Empire's most advanced systems look primitive. 3 systems away, Fleet Admiral Zekmoth watched the same image on the bridge of his flagship. His forearms hung limply at his sides as he tried to comprehend how a single species could achieve such complete dominance without firing a single weapon. "Your Empire's intelligence reports describe humanity as a primitive species confined to a single star system," Chen continued. "Those reports are approximately 50 years out of date. In that time, we've undergone a transformation that your scientists would consider impossible." The holographic display behind Chen shifted to show a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. Red dots marked Zilithian territory, while blue dots showed human colonies. To the aliens' shock, human settlements existed throughout the galaxy, including several systems that the Empire had claimed as their own. "We didn't achieve this through conquest," Chen explained. "We achieved it through evolution. While your Empire was building bigger weapons and stronger armor, humanity was developing technology that makes traditional warfare obsolete." Dr. Webb stepped forward, his image appearing beside Chen's on every alien screen. "Your species approaches technology through domination," he said, his voice carrying the patient tone of a teacher addressing students. "You build machines to serve you, computers to obey you, weapons to enforce your will. It's a master-servant relationship that limits your potential." The display showed side-by-side comparisons of Zilithian and human technology. Alien systems appeared as rigid hierarchies with clear command structures, while human networks flowed like living organisms, adapting and changing in real time. "Humans developed differently," Webb continued. "We learned to merge with our technology instead of commanding it. Our consciousness can integrate directly with quantum processing systems, creating a hybrid intelligence that transcends the limitations of purely organic or purely artificial minds." Commander Vexhai found his voice. "This is impossible. No organic mind can interface directly with quantum systems without being destroyed by the information overload." "You're correct. For most species," Chen replied, somehow hearing his comment despite the vast distance between them. "But humans evolved on a world that forced us to adapt constantly. Our neural plasticity is greater than any species the Empire has encountered. We don't just learn, we transform ourselves." The holographic display shifted again, showing the moment when alien quantum scanners first probed human ships near Jupiter. The visualization revealed something that made every Zilithian observer gasp in understanding. The scanning beams hadn't just gathered information about human technology. They had created permanent quantum entanglement between alien and human systems. "Every scan you performed taught us more about your technology," Dr. Webb explained. "Every probe you sent gave us deeper access to your networks. You've been training us to control Zilithian systems since the moment you arrived. Your own advanced technology became the key to your defeat." Fleet Admiral Zekmoth finally spoke, his voice heavy with resignation. "What do you want from us?" Chen's expression became serious, her military bearing evident in every word. "We want the Zilithian Empire to understand that the age of conquest is ending. Humanity will not permit the enslavement of sentient species. We will not allow the strong to prey upon the weak. The galaxy is changing and your empire must change with it. And if we refuse?" Zekmoth asked. "Then you'll discover what happens when you fight a species that can turn your own weapons against you," Chen replied calmly. "We currently control every ship in your invasion fleet. We could order them to fire on each other, strand them in deep space, or simply shut down their life support systems. We won't do any of those things because humanity doesn't seek to destroy while we seek to protect." The display showed a new image that made both alien commanders step backward in shock. Human ships were emerging from wormholes throughout Zilithian space, appearing near major military installations and population centers. Hundreds of vessels, all broadcasting the same peaceful message but demonstrating the clear capability to strike anywhere in the Empire at will. "This isn't an invasion," Chen assured them. "It's a message. Humanity has evolved beyond the need for territorial conquest. We exist throughout the galaxy now, not as conquerors but as guardians. Any species that chooses cooperation over conquest will find us to be valuable allies." Dr. Webb added, "Any species that chooses conquest will find their own technology turned against them. We've already mapped the technological signatures of 17 major civilizations. If necessary, we can neutralize the military capabilities of any species in the galaxy without destroying a single ship or harming a single crew member." Commander Vexhai looked around his bridge at his crew, seeing his own thoughts reflected in their expressions. The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't just achieved technological superiority. They had transcended the entire concept of traditional warfare. In a universe where might made right, they had developed the ultimate form of might, the ability to make enemy weapons useless while leaving enemy personnel unharmed. "What happens to our crews?" Vexhai asked. "To our families on the homeworld?" "Nothing if your empire chooses wisely," Chen replied. "We're returning control of your ships to you. You'll go home with a message for your leaders. Earth and her colonies are under human protection. Any species that seeks our friendship will find it freely given. Any species that threatens us or our allies will find their technology turned against them." The tactical displays on both alien ships suddenly returned to normal operation. Weapon systems came back online. Navigation computers resumed responding to commands, and communication networks returned to Zilithian control. The humans had demonstrated their complete dominance and then voluntarily relinquished it. There was a show of mercy that was somehow more intimidating than any threat. "Why spare us?" Fleet Admiral Zekmoth asked. "We came here to conquer your worlds and enslave your people." "Because conquest creates enemies while mercy creates allies," Chen replied. "Humanity learned long ago that the strongest civilizations are built on cooperation, not domination. We're offering your empire a chance to learn the same lesson." The holographic display faded, leaving only Chen's image on the alien screens. "You have a choice to make, soldiers of the Zilithian Empire. You can return to your leaders with news of humanity's strength and our preference for peace. You can help your civilization evolve beyond the need for conquest, or you can ignore this warning and discover that humanity's mercy has limits." The transmission ended, leaving both alien fleets alone with their thoughts and the impossible choice before them. As the human ships vanished through wormholes that closed behind them, Commander Vexhai and Fleet Admiral Zekmoth were left to contemplate a future where their empire's greatest strength, their advanced technology, had become useless against a species that didn't fight wars. They fought evolution. And evolution always won. The message they would carry back to the Empire was simple but revolutionary. Humanity didn't conquer other species. They absorbed their technology, transcended their limitations, and offered them a choice between cooperation and irrelevance. The galaxy would never be the same.